Dale.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, you have cell phones, if you could please put them to vibrate or silent then. Also, as a reminder to council and then all members that participate in the council, county council starts at 6 p.m. Please be seated prior to that. There's no reason to be late. Everybody's coming here for various reasons and be respectful for their time. We would like this to start on time. It wasn't to you, Dale.
Or was it?
No, it was not. You were pressing the flesh. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the previous meeting? Are there any corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the September 2nd meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Does anybody have any mail? If not, we'll move on to our county attorney. Mr. Appel, do you have anything?
I don't have anything I need to present at this time unless someone has a question they feel needs to be answered.
Yes, I do. Since the case on the corner now is going to go to court, and we've asked you this in the past, do we or do we not have coverage, insurance coverage on the corner?
Concerned? That's still yet to be decided, and I can't really discuss pending litigation.
When will we know that? When will we know if we do or do not have coverage?
I'm not sure exactly. But as of now, I mean, we don't have coverage, but that's not, there's still, could be a declaratory action to see if if one of the policies covered it. That hasn't been determined.
Would this fall under the new policy which started, July 1st, I think, or would it fall on the old policy?
It would fall under the old policy
On the old
because
one?
the events that brought rise to the lawsuit happened in February of 2013.
Okay.
Chris, is somebody saying that we don't have coverage?
Right now, yes, but
You know for what reason?
there's a couple reasons. There's some exceptions in the policy that was in effect at the time.
So to not have coverage, wouldn't we have to specifically say that we don't have coverage on the corner? I mean, to exclude that department? Or,
There was some some language that excluded claims that came out of handling the remains of dead bodies. And there's two different policies. There's public officials, elected officials, and then general county claims. And that's the sticking point right now, is why they initially denied coverage, but it's still not completely determined that there isn't going to be coverage. But for now, the county has a duty to defend any of its employees that have a lawsuit, so that's why outside counsel was hired.
Is that it?
okay, for now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Appel. We'll move on to our committee reports. Councilman Strong, do you have anything to report at all?
Nothing from budget and finance.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak for the wage committee? Since Councilman Seidel's not here? Okay, there's nothing there. Okay, we have no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business. The appointment to the Fayette County Housing Authority Board.
have it with me. That letter we got from the Housing Authority, this is something that fell through the cracks last month. We should have,
I did in August, I think.
we should have made an appointment last meeting, reappointing Donald Stiver
Yes.
to the Fayette County Housing Authority Board. And so we're actually 30 days overdue on that appointment. So I would move to reappoint Donald Stiver to the Fayette County Housing Authority Board.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second to appoint Donald Stiver to the Fayette County Housing Authority Board. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll do a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next item under new business is reschedule our November meeting. Of course, our regularly scheduled meeting would fall on the election. Probably should move it to the 5th, the following Wednesday.
Okay.
Somebody want to make a motion, or?
I'll move to schedule the next regular meeting of the county council to Wednesday, November 5th, 6
Second.
p.m.
She second.
I
Oh,
second.
a second, okay, I'm sorry. So motion and second, any further discussion? If not, we have a motion to move the next regularly scheduled meeting from November 4th to November 5th at 6 p.m. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, we have a transfer for the highway.
We have 3 transfer requests in the highway. I thought Terry put them in everybody's. Do you not have
Hey,
them?
Richard. Hey.
We're still getting Terry up to speed on what you guys do and don't need, I assume.
Do you guys have all these?
I have them.
It-
Yes, I've got them.
No.
Did she put in the box after?
I don't have them, and I picked up mine
All right.
now. I mean, I
We got
checked my
3
box before the...
transfers here. Supplies, 2,000. Garage and motor, 1,000. Repair of office equipment, $128.23. You're up.
There, I don't know what to say, because this is yours.
I think,
This is money's needed for repair of office equipment, vehicle parts, office supplies.
the reason it's before council is because it's between 2 different categories, transferring like from transferring from office equipment to supplies. So you're transferring from a 4 category capital expense to a 2 for supplies. And then transferring from rent of equipment to garage and motor, that would be from a 3 category to a 2. And then transferring from office equipment, which is a capital expense, into repair of office equipment, which is a 3 category.
We want to make a motion?
All you doing is transfer from one to another?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
We handle all 3 at one time? Jim, we handle all 3 at one time?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to approve the 3 transfer requests in the amount of $120.23 for repair of office equipment, $1,000 for garage motors for parts, and $2,000 for office supplies. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
My first day.
You made it easy on you.
This time.
Okay. County General Circuit Court Pedicures. Here comes the judge. I know, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Tells you how old I am.
The bad news is I'm here to get some money transferred into the petty jury fund. You may recall I was here before with regard to this. This is the budget line item where I had requested $12,000 at the beginning of the year for that budget, and that was cut in half. And we do have to have jury trials. So, but anyway, the good news is that October was set to have 2 jury trials, a civil trial and a criminal trial. 3 of the 4 criminal trials that had firm trial dates were resolved. The 4th trial, the state's witness was not available, so by agreement that was continued. The civil trial was continued by agreement of the lawyers until off into the spring, so it may get resolved. However, I do have a defendant who's requested a speedy trial date in November, so I know that that will be a go. So we have a trial in November and a trial in December. So I had requested an additional $6,500. Since I've made that request, those 2 trials have been bumped off of October. So I would say I probably only need, there's $1,500 left in there. I would probably only need another $2,500 instead of what I asked for because of that. Maybe $3,000 just to be safe, because it's hard to say for sure if a trial would be 1 day or 2 days. It's just impossible to predict for sure. It won't be any 4-day trial like we had back in June, but $3,000 or so would be, I think, would keep us safe. Then I wouldn't have to come back for more money for that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
And you're asking for,
3,000 I think will get us through.
3,000.
Yeah, I think that'll do it.
so we have a motion on the floor for an additional appropriation in the amount of $3,000. Any further discussion on that? If not, we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay. Do you want to read this letter?
I think I have it in order.
Right, but do we want to read this? What's your name? I'm sorry.
Okay. I didn't have comment.
I think one of those were in everyone's mailbox. There was
Yeah, I
one
did
from
get one.
Sarah and one from Mary.
Should I just read it? Next up is County General Treasurer part-time. Each of us should have received a letter in our mailbox from the treasurer, Mary Ayers, stating that she couldn't be here. She had a prior engagement, that she would not be able to attend this portion of the county council. We also received a letter from Sarah Bennett, kind of, I guess, stating why they need the additional funds and the work that goes on in the office and so forth, kind of broke it down. She's asking for $1,500 to, I guess, help with the tax season is what she has on here.
I thought that was,
1,684. Well, that's.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah, I read the
yeah,
wrong one,
that's-
1,684. That was the wrong one.
What was the amount again?
$1,684. $1,684.
okay, well, last month, I didn't bring last month's material with me. Last month, when Mary was in, she was asking for a much larger amount, wasn't it?
3,600, I think it'd be in your minutes.
Okay.
37.
Yeah, 3,700.
3,700. At the time we discussed that, I had it in my mind that a request for part-time in that office for a period of approximately 5 weeks would have been much more appropriate than this. It seems that the dollar amount that she's requesting this time seems to fit into that time period. I can't recall what the part-time rate is over there right now. Debbie, do you know off the top of your head?
I think 840, I don't know unless she's had a raise. It's the standard starting rate is 842 for part-time. And I think being that she has used every available hour, there will be more, it will be needed at tax time.
Well, I know that the tax time is busy over there. The original request was designed to provide 20 hours a week for the remainder of the year. Did you see that rate was $8 and
I'm not sure if that's what Lisa was thinking. That's the,
looks like that should take care of approximately 20 hours a week for 5 weeks. I know that office is going to need some help during the tax season. I didn't want it to go any further than that last month. If you read the letter you got from Sarah Bennett, as well as the one we got from Mary, I voted against the request last month because it was, I thought, too much. This request is much more reasonable. I'm willing to go along with it, in my personal opinion. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but before I make a motion to approve this, does anyone want to add anything, any thoughts to this?
I do.
Okay.
Did Mary take one of her part-timers to a conference?
yes, she took, yes, she did,
She took him to a conference.
yeah.
That money could have been used for tax time.
I think we can both agree on that,
Yep.
but what's done is done. We can't bring that back.
But it needs to be brought out.
Well,
It needs to be brought out.
And you've done that.
Huh?
I mean, you've just done that.
Yep. Needs to be
You brought it out, but I don't think it's necessarily, I don't agree with taking the part-time help to a conference. I think that was not right, not the best use of taxpayer dollars. But on the other hand, I don't think we can punish
The
the
taxpayers.
taxpayers for coming in and not having somebody to help. In essence, that's what we would be doing.
No, I'm not saying give it to her. I just want that brought out, that we gave her money to run the office with, and it was used for a conference. The only thing I want to bring out. But like you said, taxpayers only need to be let down.
Yeah, it is, I double checked the pay, it is 842
842.
an hour.
I'll move to approve this.
Yeah, I got a quick thing.
Okay.
In Sarah Bennett's letter, she says here that there's a lot of people who lose their statements between May and November, And it is very time consuming to look up these bills, especially with people with multi-properties. Would it be appropriate, and can we charge them, if they lose that, charge them for the time that it takes them to look that up?
Well,
I mean, I don't know what she's really talking about, you know, what's
It was-
time consuming to one person is
it was,
not that much.
it was much different in the old tax system because we actually had, we couldn't really post anything unless we had a statement. You can actually look it up. For a person with one parcel, you know, you can look it up and then go in and you can go right from that screen and go and post a payment. Now, she is correct, with multiple parcels, that is a problem, you know. But if you did that, you would have to pass an ordinance stating that there would be a fee, you know, a fee for reprint of tax bill or something like that. I don't think you could just do it now, but if that's
Yeah.
something you want to think about doing for next year,
Future.
you know.
One of the other things that we've talked about, and again, if not outsourced, again on Sarah's letter, and she does a good job in itemizing all of the different things that might come up here and there. And again, Councilman Wenta has asked that we look into the additional possibilities with the outsourcing. And I think that I've made a presentation the year before last or last year and again this year, that there are some software companies offering to work with the Lao software to allow people to go online and pay their tax bill online and to receive their tax statements online. And again, that should save additional postage every year and should save some of those additional tasks. Now, there'll probably be new and different tasks required to eventually get to that place. But just like the Odyssey software and the other efficiencies that we've been able to gain, you know, with the security system, with the new computers and telephone, I think there are potential savings with going with some of this outsourcing software that could maybe make it so that there aren't so many of the different things, or there are fewer opportunities to have to get off task.
I will say, Shirley, that we are switching in, actually next month, to Schneider's Beacon system, where we will be, instead of the current GIS system where we go in, you will be able to go into this Beacon and it will link to Lao and have tax statements on there. It would have special assessments, all those types of things. It will have much more information than we currently have available online now. So it is pretty user-friendly. We saw a demonstration of it. I think Barton was there when we had a demo of the software, and a lot of counties use it. And I think some of them do link to be able to pay your taxes, but they link to GovPay or something like that, and there's no way around not charging that fee, because we can't absorb that
Right,
like a
and again,
retailer can.
you and I have had that discussion too,
Yeah.
and I understand it. And again, a reasonable fee for being able to pay your taxes online might be $2 or $5, but not the 3%, because when some businesses and farm entities, then it's a substantial amount of money. But I do believe, you know, there's electronic payments are happening in a lot of different applications, and I think that there's someone out there that's going to offer that to the counties to be able to save the money. I understand we have to charge a fee, but it doesn't have to be the 3% that you use for credit cards.
Well, I think there was something where I think debit cards were going to be some kind of a flat fee. And it seems to me like that was like $2.95, but I don't know whether that, I remember that came about right at the time I went over to the auditor's office, so I can't really say. I know IRS charges you if you pay online with theirs. It's the same charge we have on ours to pay online.
Right, and I think the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, for instance, you can go online and pay for your license plates and what have you. And yes, you pay a small fee, but if you have to, number one, drive, there's cost associated with that. And also if you, if you do pay it by your credit card, maybe it is at 3%. But again, there are flat fees, and the system that I'm talking about and that I thought I understood was available from one of the different vendors was that you could go online and make the payment from your checking account to the account designated by the treasurer's office. And so, again, that might not be out there available with everyone, but I think it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
I think that we're getting a little off track here. I mean, it all kind of ties in with making that office a little bit more efficient, which would help this. But the current situation right now is we have to address is the 1684. I think we need to do some more research on our end to the system that Councilwoman Charlotte Weiss is talking about. But we need to address this issue.
Is there a motion on that?
There's
Oh,
Dale was made a partial one.
I started to. Okay, I'll move to approve the additional request from the treasurer's office in the amount of $1,684.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second to approve the additional appropriation for the treasurer's office in the amount of $1,684. Any further discussion? We'll do roll call vote.
Councilman Winter,
Yes.
Councilman Strong,
Yes.
Councilman Wolf,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wise,
Yes.
Councilman Plum,
No.
Councilman Nobby.
No.
Motion carries 4-2.
Just to answer Councilman Plum's question, if you want to pass an ordinance where there's a penalty involved, it has to be published for 2 weeks
Okay.
before it can go into effect.
All right.
Just if that's something you guys want to think about in the future.
All right.
Next up is the sheriff for gas and oil. I'm going to take care of the cumulative building jail at the same time.
Have an additional for $1,000 out of the cumulative building for jail. That's to finish up a lot of our inspections and stuff on the sprinklers and the pest control. Not sure why I'm doing that. Should be Bill Graves, but I'm sure he's busy. So I need that for an additional. And then I have another one for gas and oil. It's $10,000, but I'd like to change that to $5,000. We figured up and did some math on it and where we are, and I believe we can finish up the year with just $5,000 more. That $5,000 plus the $10,000 we got out of the misdemeanor fund is $15,000. Last year I came over here at this time and asked for $25,000. So we have not only taken that 10 out of the misdemeanor fund, we've cut it by 10,000. So I'm only asking for 5,000 out of that, out of the 10 that's there. I'm sure we can make the adjustment, unless you guys want to give me 10, and then we'll give it back in January, however you'd like to do it, but we really only need 5 to finish up the rest of the year.
I'll make motion, give him 5.
Killing you, huh, Dale?
I
How
got a question,
didn't
Sheriff.
expect that, did you? Go ahead.
How do we know, or how do I know, that 5,000 is all you wanted to begin with, and you put that 10,000 in there just to draw us in?
Dale,
Are you-
I am not near that slot.
I'm
I am not near the politicians some of you guys are.
I'm not convinced of that.
Well, I believe you, 100%. We put in the 10,000 because we thought that's what it was going to take when we put this in September. We put it on in August. But with gas prices going down, that's helping. I mean, you don't think 20 cents matters
Oh, yeah.
until you're buying, 1,000 gallons of gas. It matters. And we looked at some of what the bills were coming in to finish up, and we thought we would need, because last year, I came over here 7 years in a row needing 25,000 at the end of every daggone year. But this year, with that being down, with us taking that 10,000 out of misdemeanor to help do transports, mean, we're getting by with 15,000, which before we've asked for 25. So it's not a ploy to, it's really not, you're giving me way too much credit. Way too much. Don't overthink this, Dale. This isn't brain surgery.
You wouldn't jerk me around, would you?
No, sir.
Okay.
I respect my elders.
Well, thank you.
Right, Sheriff Jackson? Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So-
I know, I was a little surprised to see this because I know it's just been recently that we took the 10,000 out of misdemeanor.
Right. Well, I don't think we're, well, you can sort of see where, if approved, our balance would have been 73, 78, but that didn't include the 10,000 out of the misdemeanor, so.
At budget time, we usually cut you about 30 on gas anyway, don't we?
Yeah,
Every year you've been back, haven't you?
every year it's the same,
So if you
so.
want, well, we don't have to worry about him coming back. In the future, don't cut it.
Well, we've
I don't
already-
think it was cut for,
We already adjusted, we just said, why keep cutting it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was fixed for 2015.
Yeah, it was.
so.
Already made a motion, Mike.
You gonna make a motion on
Already
both?
did.
On both?
Yeah.
You gotta make the motion on the one.
Oh, I made it on gas.
Right.
I'll make it on both of them if you want
Kill two birds with one
it.
stone.
Yep. Get him out here.
Got a second? Second, we have Mark second, Mark, Nagi seconded it. So we
I'll
have a
second
motion.
both motions, the gas and the
Mark Nagi already seconded.
contractual services.
We have a motion for additional appropriation to approve the amount of $5,000 for gas and oil and $1,000 for contractual services. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Also, for August, we billed DOC $8,200 for DOC housing. We don't have, have September's figured up yet on how much that's going to be. So, I told you guys I would come over here and sort of tell you what we're turning in.
8,001?
82.
8,200.
Okay.
Yeah, not just rounding that, it's about, it's 8,085 to DOC, and then for parolees, it is 280, so 8,300 for August. And I think we are paid up through June or July, I believe, so they caught up a little bit.
Sheriff, how many,
You know,
How
how much
many
you got
inmates?
outstanding right now?
How many what?
How much do you have that's outstanding right now,
If
roughly?
we go off, if you just go off of what August is, we're probably got, I'd say 16,000.
Okay.
20,000, somewhere right in that range, outstanding. But we don't have September's, so I'm not counting September's. So probably another 8 on top of that. So,
so the $8,200 figure is for August?
yes.
How many inmates, do you know how many inmates that is good for?
He's gonna have to do that.
That,
We billed for 231 days. Oh my gosh, let's see. That is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 inmates.
17. These are level 6, are these all level 6?
These are already, they're just doing their time. These are been sentenced before the levels took over.
Okay.
So
I was trying to get a sense of what this new system.
where we are with that.
Yeah.
We again, we're sort of where we really hadn't, we haven't any hearings or anything, anybody pled to that, to where we got a number on that. And as soon as we do, I'll have that over here for you, whether it's me or whoever's next in January. Somebody will get that to you as soon as we know, because we want to know too.
Yeah, that's going to be important in the future.
Very important,
Yes.
so.
Okay.
Other than that, everything's running along. Bill Gray got the new countertop put in the control room. It looks a lot better. So he told me he'd have it done before I was out of the office. He did have me worried just a little. But he got it done with 2.5 months to spare. But other than that, we're chugging right along.
What was that material made out?
It came from, I want to say Henry County's 911 center. They had it left over. They've got new equipment, and we got it probably 2 years ago and put it in our basement. They gave it to us, And we've had it in there ever since. Our other one was it's 6 years old, from where we put the new center and stuff in, that Bobby Reveley and I done on our own, did it ourselves. So this new stuff is a lot better. It's still like, I don't want to say, it's sort of like this corkboard kind of stuff. It's not the best in the world, but when it costs us nothing, you know, there's some time getting it put in by Bill and Jeff. They've done a good job on it.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Billy, from what I've been reading newspaper, your new deputy's been doing a good job, hasn't he?
Clint,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that guy,
Is he the only one working?
well,
They like to run it, they
he's
like to
like
run
a
into
magnet,
him.
and
He is.
everything he goes to can be the simplest loud music call, and the next thing you know, they're calling me with, Clint got $8,000 in cash and 10 grams of heroin and put 11 people in jail, like 2 guns, and like, whew, so, it makes me nervous with that.
Other day, they tried to run into him, didn't they, down
Yeah,
there?
they tried. Yeah, he put him, he's made, you guys have seen some of the heroin rally stuff coming up, and, I mean, I don't know how many more people we can just keep putting in jail. That's what the guys are doing it. And city police are, you know, we're putting everybody in jail we can.
They lost
I'm not
him.
sure what the answer
They
is.
lost another one Saturday, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, overdose.
Yeah, almost
Looks
lost
like,
one day after that.
Looks like you did know what you're doing. You made a good hire, huh?
Well, I sort of know what it takes to be a policeman. I haven't forgot all of that. Any other questions?
Sheriff,
Sir?
the repair job on the capstones on the jail building, did those guys get that finished this week?
They were working on today in the rain.
Still working today?
So, I'm not sure they've been around. Are they doing it all the way around?
They were working on the west side of the building.
That's where I saw them today. So is it scheduled to go all the way around?
I'm not sure. One of the commissioners here would have to answer that.
You don't know? So, I don't know, but they were on the west side today when I saw them, so they were putting them back when it was pouring rain, and they were right out there going at it, so. Okay, anything else?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Next up, probation.
Gosh, I gotta follow Billy. It's the middle of it, I can't talk that. I'm requesting additional out of the Circuit Probation User Fund account for seminars and training. I'm asking for $500. It was appropriated $2,000. At the time that I submitted this year's budget, I was not aware that Pat Martin was going to retire, so I hadn't accounted for that. We did have a new hire in January. It just takes additional funds to get him certified as a probation officer. I think I was trying to look, it was between $300-400 to send him to orientation to get his certification as probation officer in Indiana. Also, on top of that, we have July 1st, the Indiana Judicial Center updated the probation officer standards. Now requires, we've always had to do continuing education credits and turn that in at the end of the year, but they have added that 6 of those have to be evidence-based training. And when I submitted the additional, there was approximately $1,082 in the account. Since that time, there has been a claim. There were 2 juvenile officers and an adult officer that went to training in, we call it Popeye. It's Probation Officers Professional Organization, 3-day training at French Lick, Indiana. It covers many different topics. Some of it was evidence-based training. One of the good things about that is we got a lead. They have marketing set up there. Just spoke with a Norchem drug company last week. We're going to try to switch over to them. It's a computer-generated random drug testing, so it won't necessarily completely rely on a probation officer. We've got approximately 1,000 people on probation every year. It's going to be computer generated, so it's going to truly be random. We can still do additional, but it's at a much cheaper price, and it's going to be web-based. That came from them going to that conference. And normally I would just let it ride out to the end of the year. However, I would like to attend
Community Corrections is having a conference in November, and my main reason for wanting to make sure that I attend that, Department of Corrections is, even though the Indiana Judicial Center is setting standards for us that we have to do evidence-based. Evidence-based is great because it's using scientific research to do what you already know that works so that you can be more efficient and you can use the resources that you have more wisely. So it definitely makes sense. It's going to help in the long run. However, they haven't provided much training for probation officers yet. And the Department of Corrections got a bunch of federal funding. They have grants. That's how we've got our Fayette County Community Corrections program. So they offer a lot more training that's been offered to us yet. And there is not only for management, but there's going to be programs offered that's evidence-based that we can use in-house. So we can determine what the needs of some of our probationers are and be able to provide it within the probation department to try to rehabilitate so they're not reoffending so much. So to attend that is $215. It's a 3-day conference. I am asking for $500. It's not coming out of county general. It is going to come from the probation fees that are collected on circuit court, which that fund is set aside to go back into the probation department for salaries and for programming needs that we have. So I'm asking for a little extra just to cover if there's any further trainings that probation officers are going to for meal reimbursement or that type of thing. Are there any questions about that?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor to, I'm assuming, approve it.
Yes.
Okay, to approve the $500 for training.
I'll
Have a
second.
Have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is, we'll do 911. 911's not here. I suggest we table it.
Oh, please, here, the only thing is, I would ask that you consider it, even though the director is not here. And can I see that for a second? The bill was submitted in May, and there was the cost for the Everbridge, the emergency notification system is $15,890. Well, in March, they added 200 new members to Everbridge, and that was $555.22. Then in April, they paid the $15,890, which basically the original line item was $15,900 because that was pretty much within $10 of the cost of Everbridge. But then on 5/20, there was an additional $5,000 paid to AccuWeather, which I don't know exactly why that was paid out of the emergency notification system. However, this line has been in the negative since May. And I thought that it was thought that the city was going to be reimbursing us for $5,000 on this. However, they are not going to reimburse us this year. They will pay part, I understand they're going to pay and have budgeted to pay, I think, $5,000 on it next year. But right now, we're sitting with this appropriation in the red because the bill should have never been submitted with it in the red. But if you want to table it, you table it.
Council, what do you want to do?
Debbie,
End
I
the
got
year.
Debbie, I got a question. Of the Everbridge annual contract, you got a statement there that Connersville will be billed, the city will be billed partial. How much of that $15,890 will they be billed?
Half.
Will be half?
They were supposed to pay half this year.
Right.
And
Well, I thought 5,000.
no,
They are not going to pay anything this year.
Why?
For 14.
I don't know. I spoke with Julie on the phone, and she said that Terry Bennett had just went in and laid a bill or something on her desk, and she said she told me, it is not budgeted for them to pay any on it this year, that they are going to, that they will pay on it next year. You'd have to discuss that with the city.
Debbie, do they owe us 5,000 for their share of it?
I never, do you know, Barton, do you remember whether they said they were gonna pay half of Everbridge?
Say, it's my understanding, she has this thing out of the Everbridge money, when it should have been to the bill.
Either way, we have paid it, and even
Just
if,
assume these other expenses and threw them into the Everbridge deal.
and,
Are they 9/11 fund out?
yeah,
It's got to be paid, and is the county responsible for paying it?
the county entered into the contract. We did get some reimbursements, I think, from health, wasn't it, Terry?
Yeah.
That first year.
And in a
And-
couple of years.
Yeah,
And then they applied for it and I received the approval for it. But 9/11 or 9/11 never did take it from there. They didn't give me a claim, they didn't give me anything.
They didn't bill for it, they just took it out of the 911 money instead of billing what the Everbridge was supposed to be something in addition to the 911.
but, and I think maybe, I don't know whether anyone thought that because the city might be reimbursing us for something, we wouldn't have to do an additional pay for it. Even if the city were gonna reimburse us, we would still have to do an additional to pay the bill. So right now, it's sitting in the red by the 5,500, whatever it is.
Oh, we might as well take care of it then.
So we've got these bills that are due. These bills are due and gotta be paid, right?
Correct.
And the county's responsible, right, Debbie?
Yeah, we
Okay.
signed a contract with them.
Art, was there agreement that the city would pay us 5,000?
No, there was no agreement. When we first started the Everbridge, there was an oral agreement that they would pay half the cost. Like I say, when it first started in, then they got the money from Terry, the grant. And Terry never billed each of the county and the city for their appropriate amount.
Well, it sounds like we need to address this tonight then, rather than tabling it.
I'll move to approve the additional request. $5,545.22.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve the additional appropriation for 911 in the amount of $5,545.22. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Richard, because we missed you, we want to give you our opportunity we can to speak. See your beautiful mug.
Which ones you guys starting out with?
Well,
We're gonna do everything. You're gonna take care of your 144 too.
he has an additional and then has a reduction in the same amount. So it's basically a net zero.
So he's requesting $2,577.83.
Yeah, that comes out of the heavy equipment into supervisor. Is that the same one you got? Okay, yeah. I need to get,
That was because you had to pay out Jay for his
yeah, I had to
unused
pay.
vacation.
Yeah, and plus it takes care of my salary for the rest of this year. Because we have to pay JJ.
You said you were gonna move that money from
Heavy equipment? Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Do all of this at one time?
All at one time.
Okay.
Well, okay, what's the next one then?
Well, we gotta do the 144 separately.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion to approve all of the additional appropriation requests and the reduction of appropriation request. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Who did the motion in the second?
I made the motion.
Here he is.
Moving on to other supplies.
They just did them all.
We did all of them.
Did all of them?
Trying to
Yeah.
except for the
They made
144.
it really easy. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not trying to, see, we wouldn't do that for Jay.
Yeah.
Hey, where you going? We got 144 yet.
Hey,
Oh, I still got to
You're still up here. I don't make it that easy on you.
Yeah.
So for part-time heavy equipment operator, this is $10 per hour. This is
Yeah, for the part-time is for this winter,
okay.
for an extra guy. We had, I believe we had that last year. It's a big help.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Richard?
This is a 144 for
Yes.
part-timer?
Yes.
So Richard, you don't really have anybody on board yet for this job,
For what job's that?
this part-time?
Yeah, I do. We had the same guy we did. I would go with the same guy we had last year. He knows the area, he knows how to plow. He's been with us for part-time, two years. So,
He works construction during the summer season, and he's a good man to have out on the road in the wintertime. You know, he used to work down there when he first came out of high school. We're back when he was over on the field,
Yeah.
so he knows all the roads and everything. He's a good man for bringing in for a part-time person.
dependable guy.
How much of this, I guess it depends on weather, how much of the season you have to use him, right?
Yeah, really. I'm not exactly sure how long we had him last year. Yeah, last year was nice.
Last winter, he could have potentially been there quite a bit.
Yeah, he slept down there like we did.
But he filled in for Brian last year.
Yeah, that's right.
$10 an hour awful cheap.
I know.
It's 3 times that you pay your people.
Yeah, I paid Linda $3 an hour.
Okay.
Do you have a motion?
No, I don't have a motion.
Okay. I'll move to approve this 144 for
I'll second
the
it.
highway department.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 144 for part-time heavy equipment operator. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Now you can sit down. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. 144 for our health department.
I'm going to come, I am going to work part-time down at the health department. For one, during this flu season, the billing and the posting of the immunizations and so forth like that. Plus, give a little bit more guidance to your new registrar. The beginning hourly rate for a part-timer is $8.42. I'm asking that I be paid $9.79 as the part-time person that we have now is being paid. I'm not asking, I didn't figure my salary, didn't do that. I just think it's fair and logical
for an experienced person.
for an experienced person.
I think that'd be good
So you're gonna be
investment.
doing a lot of supervision probably.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna be doing some supervision, kind of.
Yeah,
Getting your new
yeah,
skills.
you can't
Right.
train a person in a month when I've put in 33 years. You just can't. And I'm only planning on working possibly 2 days a week, which would be 13 hours, something like that. If I don't want to, I won't. But I do think that the experience and so forth like that, logically, would at least, should at least bring me up to what the girl there is making now, which is $9.79.
I make a motion that we approve the 144 for $9.79 for Terry.
We have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the 144 for part-time for Terry, $9.79 per hour. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
And we have one more 144.
Terry, she also put in the request. We had never, and I think it was all about the timing of when the health board met, because this is dated 9/8, which was after our last meeting, and that's actually for Kristen's salary.
Now, okay.
I have 144 for Kristen's salary, which had never been approved. And
It hadn't?
no, because it was dated here, was that after you had
The board meeting?
the board
Yeah.
meeting, and the board meeting wasn't prior to their last meeting.
Oh.
So, and I think maybe too, you might, when you're talking to somebody, let them know that really all new hires, even though it's approved by the board,
Maybe
they do
just during the
need to go
budget.
to the
Right, yeah, that was,
commissioners, so,
a
yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so this is, the other 144 is for Kristen Mays, who is Terry's replacement, and the starting pay for the registrar or office manager is $17,606. So that is also to be approved tonight.
Do we have any questions? Want to make a motion on this?
I believe that we've discussed this during the budget time, and that's when we learned of it before. And I think the fact that we approved the budget, but I'll make a motion that we approve the 144 for
Okay, we have a
full-time
motion, we have a
Kristen
second.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the excitement, I see our Economic Development Director just slipped in. Mr. Parker, do you have anything for the council that you want to report?
Sure.
Good evening, people. In keeping with what I said I would do in reporting every other month, falls this month, and I would like to begin with giving you a little bit of a update on the Stant situation. We're at the point right now where we need the entire community to be very positive and say nice things. Stant's a great company that has been here for 113 years, and they've been a huge blessing to Connersville. And because they've been given an offer from Michigan, we need to certainly use a little restraint in our comments and our things that as we characterize Stant. Our intent and our feelings are that ultimately we will prevail and that they'll remain in Connersville. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it would not be prudent for me to elaborate on that, but I can assure you that we are working as hard as we can to save these 230 plus jobs at Stant and to be able to extend Stant's stay in Connersville another 113 years. One of the things that all of us as citizens of Connersville and Fayette County can do, don't want to get real religious on you, but I would exhort all of you to pray that the leaders at Stant see the wisdom in remaining in Connersville, and that they would reject going to Michigan. I would like to apologize for any things that I might have said that have appeared in print that would not be put in the best light for a good relationship. I did make one huge mistake that was called to my attention. I said Stantz was the oldest company in Connersville, and I stand corrected by a number of people who read it in the Palladium item. Roots Blower is Connersville's oldest company and not Stantz, and so I apologize profusely for that mistake. I would also like to report that last Friday, this is going away from Stantz, unless there's any questions regarding Stantz. We had an individual fly in his plane to Connersville last Friday. I had the pleasure of meeting with him. We'd had many conversations on the phone, and took him to some of the empty buildings in Connersville and showed him around. And he is very committed and very interested in establishing his second manufacturing plant. He has one in Florida right now, and he'd like to have one in the north. He has a lot of customers up here in the north and even into Canada, and it would be very convenient for him to manufacture in Connersville. He gets a lot of his material from SAPA, so that would also be a plus for him. It'd be very convenient for him to get his building materials from SAPA. So I talked to him this morning, and he gave me permission to do a little bit of talking about it. Certainly a lot of the details we're working on, and there'll be more information coming forth as we go forward. It would be a nice little addition to our economy in Connersville when this gentleman comes. And beyond that, I thank each of you for your interest in economic development in Connersville, for your proactive attitude in helping EDG. It's much appreciated. I appreciate it. Our board appreciates it. And I just say thank you. Any questions for me?
Can you talk about any potential jobs that this prospective person would become ballpark?
He would start very conservatively for the first year with about 40 or 50. He would ratchet that up in years 2 and 3. And ultimately, he would stop off about where he's at now in Florida. He's got about 125 employees in Florida. So he has some ties to Connersville, some friends. In fact, he has one employee working in Connersville. And I would say that one employee has had a lot to do with him kind of directing him to Connersville. And I've been talking with him for probably the last month or two about getting up here. His airplane had its annual, and it lasted a lot longer, getting it all checked out. He got up here, and he had a new interior installed in the airplane, and somebody forgot to put a safety pin in the door catch, and as soon as he landed, the wind caught it and blew the door off. So he was in Connersville quite a long time getting that door fixed. And nice guy. He's got his own capital. It's not like he needs seed money, and so it would be good for Connersville. I've said more than I wanted to about it, but you asked, so I told you.
Thank you.
I got a question, Dan.
Yes,
I
sir.
just want to make a comment. I know you mentioned SAPA. I've done a lot of work for SAPA over the years, and I know the present manager up there is pretty disgusted with both the city and not necessarily the county, but the city and trying to expand, and he wants to expand desperately. He lost the press because he couldn't obtain some land, and hopefully there might be another press next year, and they're still looking at a smoldering plant. And I think that every effort should be made, and they have never asked for any money from the county or city. They're going to do it all themselves, and I think that's a big difference between Stantz and them. Stantz has entered an 8-year contract, 3 years into it. And I know that's a touchy situation.
It is.
But how do we know 5 years down the road, they're not gonna come back knocking on the door
We
again?
don't know,
But
Mark.
what I'm saying, Saba, I'm really addressing more to Saba.
Yeah.
Because they've never asked for anything, and they're not getting any cooperation from anybody, so I just find that
Well,
very disgusting.
and behind the scenes, there has been a lot going on with Zappa. I've been up there with a number of people. We've had discussions with Dan Coates. We've had meetings with the airport folks about using some of the land behind Zappa. We've had discussions in a number of different areas about what could and could not be used up around the airport. And there is certainly a continued effort going on. I know on my part, Mayor Urban has also been involved, and we've had some good discussions with them as far as what their plan is, and we absolutely have to help them within the next 3 years because they are maxed out on space. They have to go somewhere, either across the street, northeast, southwest. They've got to go somewhere, and we're really aware of that. And Mark, we are working on that.
I know, I'm aware of all that stuff you talked about, and I know they've had offers from Anderson, from Kokomo, and I think a place in Arkansas to move the entire facility. It's on the table right now.
Yeah.
And they can pull it, but they want to stay here, and I just think we need to do a lot more to help them. So anyway, okay.
Appreciate that, and we will do a lot more to help them.
Dan, are you in talks with Stance along with the mayor?
I have been in talks with Stance over the past few months with and without the mayor.
I'm gonna say what my feelings are, that economic development, I'll be right along with him.
Yeah, and they have been. We have not been excluded from anything. We've been involved every step of the way. And the mayor has done exactly, and I have too, exactly what Stance has asked us to do. You know, this is the way business operates in today's climate. What's happening in Connersville with Stance is happening all over, everywhere. When we brought those Minnesota jobs down to Wayzata, we made a good deal for them to come here. So it is the way business is done these days, and there really are no guarantees, which is it's just the way business is. I think if I had a business like Stance, I would probably have the leadership that they have, and I would probably be doing the same thing to get as much as I can from my company. We're on the other side of the fence. We're doing everything in our power to switch it the other way and make sure that they realize we want them to stay. We don't want them to go. And so we're doing everything we can to make that happen.
My feelings is the city and the county EDG representative all be in those meetings too.
I did hear
That the county commissioner representative and the council and commissioner representative should be in those meetings too.
I will certainly make that known.
Because they're using our tax money to be used for it. That's the way it was set up before, and I don't think the mayor should be in there by himself.
But he hasn't been.
Huh?
He has not been.
At first he hasn't he?
No, he was with someone all from the very beginning.
With
He was with my counterpart at the very beginning,
Okay,
the person that I replaced.
okay.
Dr.
I thought the paper said that he was by himself.
Yeah, the paper could have said anything. You know, James Sprague and Daryl Smith and Barry Welsh are very, very good about capturing what we say. And they're very good at capturing the news. That's their job. They do an excellent job. And we very well could have said something in the heat of the moment that came out wrong. I mean, I said Stance was the oldest company. It's not. Roots is. So it's easy to say something that isn't correct. It's easy to mischaracterize something. But what we need to do as a community is be positive, say good things, not to disparage anyone in this, certainly in this time of campaigning and elections and so forth. We get a lot more with compliments than we do with criticism. So if you have nothing more for me, I'll scoot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Parker, we started at 6 o'clock, just so.
I apologize. I did city council last night at 7. I got messed up. I've slept once since last night, so forgive me.
Next, we'll have our commissioners about the Cume Cap development, building construction for the highway garage. I know Barton's been looking forward to this all night.
So the commissioners are coming to you for one final time to ask for the appropriation to build this highway garage. When we took bid before with 7 to 300 building, the bid come in at $752,000, and you decided that we could not spend that amount of money. So we had the designer design this down and put it out in 5 different bids. The one bid was just as if we had designed it before. Then we asked for an alternate bid of cutting off the open part, which would be the truck storage shed. There's, have they got a copy of this?
Yes, I passed it.
You know, 1 and 1A alternate bids. Both of those are taking off the 150 feet of equipment storage. The difference in the two is one has a firewall in it and the other one doesn't. If you was going to build part of this and add the rest of it later, you would need that firewall in there at some time. Then the next bid, you take off all the open area and 25 foot of the shop. Or on down to you take off all the open area and 50 foot of the shop, which would give you the office, half the shop we wanted, and no truck storage. That's about what we can afford with what money you appropriate for us. You know, I want you to think about the buildings that we've got bad. We've declared that unsafe. Our trucks are sitting outside. We've got winter coming on. Your equipment's going to be sitting outside, and I don't think you see any farmer with all their high-priced equipment sitting out in the wintertime. Those new trucks you bought and all your other equipment won't last near as long, sitting out as the sitting out in the open as if it was in the shed. They're going to be harder to start in the winter, freezing up, sitting out in the snow. I would again ask you to consider buying the whole building. When the bids come in again this last time, the whole thing come in at $765,000 was the low bid. That's from Smerelli and Richmond, the people that put the steps in out here. You go on down to the low bid then, if we take everything out, but the office and 50 foot of shop, Maxwell Construction comes in at $500,494. You have the money in Cume Cap to build this. We have no other project. All of our other buildings are in good shape, almost new or remodeled. That's what that fund is for. You can't spend the money for anything else. It replenishes itself right now at the rate of $150,000 a year. Sooner or later, you're going to have to build this whole garage, I would think. I mean, it's going to cost you more in the long run, by far, than building it right now. So the commissions are going to purchase a building. Thursday morning at 11:30, we have a special meeting called, and we are going to buy what we can afford to buy. It's a shame if we have to buy half a building and then wait for another appropriation later on to put the rest of it up, and it's going to cost you more than if you do it right now. There's no need to make a long spiel about it. We've been talking this for about 4 years. You've talking about. Every time we've come down, you have turned us down. The only thing different tonight, I would ask, if you've always, part of you have agreed to appropriate the money, part of you haven't. You're here to spend the taxpayers' money wisely. So the only thing I would ask is when you vote tonight, each one of you, I would like for you to explain why you're voting the way you do. I hope you'll vote to put the whole thing, build the whole building.
Richard, can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
If we had a year like we did last year, obviously these trucks are now sitting outside. What, go through the process and man hours and time that's gonna take to get these trucks ready and defrosted and ready for the drivers to come in? And how many people are gonna have to do that, or,
All of us will have to
Okay.
do that.
so we're talking additional,
Everybody in the county is going to notice a big difference. I mean, I hate to put that out there, but because everything's going to be froze up, because we can't cover nothing now. Everything's out. Everything's out in the weather. And we had, even the new trucks, we had, I think, 2 or 3 of them last year freeze up. The DEFCON in them froze. And that's, of course, we had a bad winter last year. And then you're talking conveyor belts inside the hoppers are freezing, and we're shoveling all that out. That's kind of normal, but it's going to take us at least, I know it takes a good hour or better just to get loaded and ready to go. Now we have to set and let everything run, and that's fuel, and let everything thaw out, and that's not even thinking about the ice. We get ice, you're talking maybe more than that. But it's going to take us forever to get out there. So, I mean, there'll be people calling and complaining, but there's nothing else we can do.
Richard, how big is that building up there we got now?
That I really couldn't tell you, bit on like the width of it and stuff like that.
Pardon?
It's not very big. There's a 7x300 is what we figure that we would need. With the building that we propose, we can get all of our equipment in. Under roof, the trucks can all be set in an open front shed. We'll have a garage that we can get more than one piece of equipment in at a time and work on. Which is a big problem now. If you have a big piece of equipment in there, broke down, you're waiting on pieces, you can't bring nothing else in to work on it.
On
And
this
if-
new,
Because you can't get it out of the way.
Another thing, if a storm happens to come in the middle of the night and ice storm or anything like snow, if dispatch calls us, it's going to take us longer to get out there if there's an emergency of some sort. So,
under these proposals, how big is the garage gonna be? On the new garage? You don't know?
I don't know.
It tells you right there.
It's listed up at the
Yeah,
top.
go ahead.
Jay would know.
It tells you at the top. Garage is when we planned the garage, the new garage, we planned it big enough that you can do your winter projects in it and still get stuff in there to work on. Because right now with what we got, you can't do a winter project. You can't work on nothing in the winter time. And that's when you need to do some of your stuff that you don't use.
Your
Which
maintenance,
that's time to fix it, not when you get ready to go out and use it. Because you can't, it's got, has it got 4 bays, Martin, if I remember right? I think so. You can't really count the first bay because the sign room sits behind the office area back there, third of the office area space. And that first bay was for the sign truck to come in, they put his post in there so he weren't frozen to the ground. If he had to replace something, where'd he get it to replace it? So it actually got 3 or 4 bays. And I think they're, you remember with?
I couldn't remember. I know the big thing we got now too is equipment. When they break down, we're waiting, and it's bad in the winter time. If trucks, if one's froze up, we got to bring it in the shop, turn the heat on, make sure we thaw it out. And then if you got another one in there with a conveyor broke down on it, then you've got 2 trucks coming in, and something's wrong with them, they're waiting. And that's downtime from us cleaning them roads.
You really have about 125 foot of shop area, 25 foot office area, and 150 foot of open shed area.
Would you say that one more time?
Yeah.
125 foot? of
shop area,
shop,
and 150 foot of.
open bay storage,
Open bay storage, and that's different from the office area.
25-foot
Yeah.
office?
This building there is no frills in this building at all. Everything's cut down to the very minimum what you have to have in the building.
I'd like to repeat something that, we've said and talked about before, and maybe look at it from a different angle. I know that each of us are charged with making the most, the best use of the taxpayers' money and funds. And I'd like for people to think of this as more of a transfer from one asset to another. Right now, we have a liability out there where we can't have the equipment, the new equipment, 5 new trucks. We cause delay, extra time, again, leaving the trucks run so that they can get out there. Lost time is lost money, it's additional fuel. I don't want to use the comparison of the courthouse, but a lot of people would rather have not spent the money to redo the courthouse, and the taxpayers have been paying for some time and will continue to pay for some time. But this is something that we have paid for up front, ahead. The money is there in the cum cap. And I think that we can transfer that money from cum cap to an efficient asset for our county, where we can have a more efficient highway department. People are frustrated because maybe we haven't been able to do everything with the county roads that they would have liked. But I personally have sat through now 4, because I was here before I was elected, the budget talks where we've asked the highway department to cut money out of the budget every year because of less income for the county. So every year they have done more with less, and I just think it's wrong to ask them to settle for less for more money than what we could have spent this time a year ago. Lost time, it's lost money. And every time somebody has to open that set of plans and answer the questions again, we've all become familiar with what we need at least 3 or 4 times where we've, had these discussions. And I think it's time to, again, think of it as an asset, something for the safety of our highway department and each of the employees working out there. With that, I think our equipment will last longer. And finally, with the state allocating some additional funds from, road money income or gas tax income, maybe they can move on to thinking about another piece of equipment down the road that we can start doing more effectively with the roads. Again, it's an asset. It's to be used. That's why we have assets. And we are supposed to make the most efficient use of them. It's time to go with the original complete building. No frills. Every one of us were consulted and looked at the drawings all along. Amen.
And the longer you go, the more it's going to cost. You're going to have more costs of vehicle repairs. Eventually, you're going to have to put up some kind of building. And every time you do it, you have more engineers' costs, plus the cost is going up. I think we're very lucky that we got a bid this time within $13,000 what we got last spring.
To back up what Commissioner Barker's saying, if you look here at these base bids, Runabout, who was the cheapest last time, I think they were at $752.
I believe is what it was.
As I said, in the last time the commissioners came before us, they would go up. When you look at all the bids that came in last time, they were significantly lower. We've missed opportunity after opportunity as a council to save this county money. We claim, or under the banner of trying to save the county taxpayers money. We're not doing it. We haven't done it yet by saving them any money. We had an opportunity to buy an existing building half down at $283,000. Pay the balance of it over a 3-year period. That would have been replenished at the rate of $150,000, $575,000 for an existing building. We passed on it as a council. We missed an opportunity. Now we're looking at bids here of $787,000, $765,000 to build the same building with less features and less things that it had. We did a small sampling of the of the county, less than 1% of the population of the county, to get their opinion on whether the garage should be there or not. We've missed opportunity after opportunity. We're trying to save the taxpayers money, but I've said it before, we trip over a dollar to save a penny. And we need to do the right thing, because I guarantee you, you may think you're not gonna build this thing this year. I guarantee you, next year, the year after, it will be built. And it'll be built at more expense to the taxpayers than what we currently are spending now. So we can either make the decision, a tough decision now. We've already wasted enough money. We've had the commissioners do an appraisal on a piece of property for no apparent reason, wasting $4,000 there. We need to just get it done and get this thing moved on, because we're just gonna be causing more problems to the taxpayers by not getting it done. Does anybody want to make a motion on this?
Before any motion's made, let me ask Richard a question. Richard, the scenario that you described during bad weather, is it safe to say that with all of our equipment sitting outside will result in a slower response time?
That's correct. We always had our loader underneath the roof, and that's in the winter time. It's just like our trucks. We keep them under the roof. But yeah, it'll be slower this year.
Yeah. Oftentimes, a slow response carries added liability, legal liabilities too.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the additional request in the amount of $190,000 to allow the construction of a new highway department garage.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. A motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilman Linton,
Yes.
Councilman Strong,
Yes.
Councilman Wolf,
No.
Councilwoman Wise,
Yes.
Councilman Platt,
No.
Councilman Nobby.
No.
We have no decision. We have a tie.
So where do you go from there? It just
Table till next month.
Guess we flip a coin.
Table till next month, till Russ is here.
Mr. Pale, we pay you that high
I
money.
mean,
What do we do?
it would be continued until you can have, it has to be, to pass a motion, it has to be by a majority of the elected body.
Okay, Mr. Barker, you had a meeting when, Thursday?
we have a meeting Thursday for the purpose of purchasing a building, yes.
Okay.
And I haven't really asked you people for much, but I did ask you tonight, when you voted to give a reason for why you did it.
What I did, I'm listening to the taxpayers that I've talked to.
And what did they say?
No.
And the ones I've talked to, it says too much money. They don't want something that high priced.
Well, are you saying that they'd rather have nothing than?
That's what they're saying evidently. They don't want to pay that kind of money for a building.
But they're not gonna be taxed any more, right?
It don't matter, it's their money.
Too much.
It's true.
I'm just going by what their wishes are.
Commissioner Barker, to answer your question, the people that I've talked to, I've had people that were opposed to it. When I explain to them what's going on and I tell them the dollars and figures, they're in favor of it. So, you're gonna hear no's and you're gonna hear yeses. And I've heard from people saying farmers would have taken care of that building, they would have pieced it together. You're right. The farmers also wouldn't have woke up 30 years later and said, our building's falling apart, let's fix it. They would have fixed it all along. they would have kept it up. We didn't do it as a county. There was no plan in place to do that. And that's the county's
You're
fault.
saying that you would rather we leave the equipment set outside than to
If
do
that's
it?
what it is, yeah. Unless you
Is
can
that what
find,
you- is that
you
what-
could get a hut building a lot cheaper than that to put your equipment in. It don't have to be no Taj Mahal.
Mr. Nobby,
Go over and look at the Rush County Highway
Mr.
Department.
Nobby, this is not a Taj Mahal. This is.
I don't care what you're saying, to me,
I don't want to
It's
argue.
too
I've
high.
argued with it for 4 years.
well, you keep on arguing.
No, I'm
I'm not
just-
changing my mind, that's what my people's telling me.
And I appreciate that. So the commissioners will just do whatever we want, what we're going to do, and you, whatever money you appropriate, we'll get what we can get.
No, I appreciate that.
I think someone mentioned liability. As you know, in the paper, there was a tort claim filed because a stop sign was down. So in a winter storm, if a stop sign goes down and we're made aware of it, the county's liable. They can't get out there to fix it, or they can't clear the way. There's an accident. Same situation.
But that's not in this case, because they have $600,000 to build a building with.
But right, I mean, if they can't get the equipment, then
Well,
you say
yeah.
it'll be a 2-hour delay.
But
If
the
it's
equipment-
frozen.
Richard, isn't the equipment you use to replace signs, that's a pickup truck, and that would be inside in this, that would be inside this building?
The bucket truck, it's a bucket truck and it's outside.
Okay, well, what's the truck, you had a place to put a truck inside, was that a?
In the new building, there's a place to put one inside. There used to be a place for it in the old building, but with the building the way it is, they moved it out. It's, right now, he's working out of the animal shelter up the open cemetery building up there.
Oh, he is, okay.
If he leaves the truck down there, he'll have to sit outside. It's the same as everything else.
Mr. Plum, I don't want to argue with you, it's too late to do that anyway, but my question to you is, you designed a building for the senior center for a garage.
Yes.
Half the size of ours, and it come in $500,000 or better. So did you over do that? Did you overbuild that, overdraw, or?
Well, we went with what they were trying to do, and then we designed the building according to what would look, what would look decent in that area of the town. Yeah, we could have done it cheaper, there's other ways, we could have done it cheaper, but that's the way we were not directed to go. And they don't have the money, so it's on hold right now. I think they're looking at some other options. Frank, weren't they looking at that building right across the street north, the old Willie's old, old building?
No.
I think
been to the last couple of meetings.
No,
Oh, yeah.
we're not
That was
looking at
suggested,
that.
but I don't know if they followed
I'm on
up
the
on
board,
it.
you're not
We
looking at
looked at
that.
old buildings, and this council directed us not to take any buildings and take them off the tax rolls, but to build a new building. That was your direction.
Well, that wasn't my direction, but I didn't want to have two places to take care of. There was some people who didn't want to. Well, the building came off the tax roll anyway, the one you're speaking of.
Yep.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did. It came off tax roll anyway. So.
There have been a lot of unintended consequences due to our inability to get the job done.
I don't want to argue with you, but the committee of this council directed me to board by Fuzzy's building, and then voted against it. So it's kind of hard to know what you want.
Well, obviously, this is not an easy issue because, like you said, this has been going on for 4 years now. Or something.
But you decided that Fuzzy's building was the best thing for us to do.
Well, until I got looking at it and then realizing after I went and viewed the facility up there, 40 and 1, and when he advised me that you don't want to pull trucks into a building that's got a flat flow, you'll have a flood situation inside that building. Because all their buildings they're sloped where they have it all runs to a drain.
Right, but we have the opportunity to put that building in with a sloped floor to satisfy that, to make sure we don't make those same mistakes.
Well, all the vehicles we're talking about would be in the open storage, and there would be no floor. That'd be a dirt, well, gravel accountable for.
Right, so that,
So,
you know,
Mr. Flynn, what do you think you could design a building to serve all these done? What, for how much?
Well, I think I could, I don't know, I never have researched it, I wouldn't ask to, so it takes time, you gotta look at
Well, if you know
all
the
the
ours
issues.
is too much money.
I'm not saying it's too much money, I'm just saying, right now, I look at the 600,000, the 190,000 you want, that's 790. Now, I know you've got cost in it already, such as design and the revising of the drawings. I'm looking at roughly, we got almost $850,000 we'd have in that as we go right now. And that depletes our fund down to 150,000 KimCap fund, and I just think that's,
Which
county, which
replaces itself.
I know, but for the way this county is financially, I don't see where we can afford to take that down this level.
So it's water over the dam, so the smartest thing to do would have been to buy Fuzzy's building and pay $283,000.
No, we would have probably put another couple $100,000 into that.
I don't know where you come up with that figure.
You'd have to do something to that floor, you gotta fence that. And my condition of that, I didn't want to take care of two facilities.
and really, we don't have that opportunity, it's not on the table anymore.
Well, it's been voted, it's a tie right now, so we just have to wait until the next meeting and vote on it and bring it up again if we want to do that when the other member gets here of the council and go from there. So,
Well, Commissioner Barker, that doesn't help you one bit.
That's been the usual story.
I know.
We get to run it down to 4 years. For what reason, I don't know. Like the highway department, I guess, we've been for everything else.
We made a highway department that will be safe for the employees. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is keeping employees safe and what the taxpayers want.
So far, you haven't done that?
Huh?
So far, you haven't done that?
We gave them money to make us safe.
Jim?
We've all, I'm done on the discussion, Frank. I'm done on the discussion.
I'm really
We can
done.
sit here and argue all night long till we're blue in the face. The decision's being made till the next meeting, so I'm ready to move on.
Do we have any patron concerns?
Yeah, just to address this issue here somewhat, I retired from MnDOT after 26 years. Wintertime, I would be transferred over to assistant snow plowing duties. When I first started, all of our equipment set outside. We would get called for a snowstorm. We would be at least an hour to an hour and a half before we ever got the trucks out onto the road, because we would have to thaw everything out. They would be plugged in, so they would start, but you've got to thaw everything out. By the time I retired, just about everything we've got is inside. Come in a short time, you're ready to go in just within minutes of being there, because you start the trucks up, you're out, everything's thawed out. Does it freeze up over the roads? Yes, you still have to come in and thaw your loads out. They'll freeze up inside when you do that. But another concern, and that's beside the fact on that, I don't know, I mean, I don't have to make those decisions. But my big concern here is as a fire chief. There's been several times over the years, and I know you gentlemen have done it, that I have relied on getting to scenes by commandeering snowplows, and so I think we're putting lives in jeopardy here, not only on the roads, but I think we're putting lives in jeopardy here of our citizens by the delay of emergency services getting there. These trucks that we've got are not four-wheel drives. They don't have chains on them. We're limited on where we can go with these trucks, so I think we need to look at options. I mean, I don't know. Fortunately, I don't have to make these decisions you guys have to make right now, but I think there are options, and I don't think some of them have been looked at. I realize that federal government comes in with wage stuff and all that you got to match. I just built a new fire station in 2005. I think we moved into it in 2006. I could have built that fire station for approximately $300,000 to $400,000. When the federal government come in there, it cost me $750,000. Mayor Urban here in town has, I think, done some good stuff here with just like the Roberts Building, the restrooms up at the park, the restrooms down there. I think that as leaders of this community, we could support our youth. You go out here to the Career Center, you've got a design department, you've got a construction department, you've got an electrical department out there. Train these youth, cut down on the wage. I think you could build this building for a lot less. I'm not so sure that voting for an expensive building like that's the answer, but I think as leaders of the community, I think you could look at some options here. This building is needed. If you buy this, if you build this for the fee that they was, what was that, $750,000 or $800,000 total, I think that's outrageous. But I think that we could get a little bit of a backbone and stand up to the federal government here a little bit. Let's build with our youth. Come out here and give them a little, show some leadership and let the youth come in and save us some money. We could build this for a lot less. Obviously, it's not going to get done this winter, so. But that's just a couple of my concerns there, so.
Thank you. I want to make one comment, Richard. This building has never been condemned by anybody. If you read the engineer's report, it was not condemned, and he said there was no immediate necessity to move out at that time. That is in his report. Why can't you, now I know the commissioners have locked you out of it, why can't you use that in the winter? Just pull your trucks in there in the winter and leave them. And nobody's in there working. Nobody's in there working, and then you come in the morning, you just get in the truck and you drive it out. The thing stood up in the heavy snows we had last winter, some of the record snows, still standing. Stood up in the Ike winds, some of the heaviest winds we've ever had. And I think the building's a little bit more sound than we think. And I really wanted to do this building in stages. I wanted to build the garage first. Don't even build this open storage. With what Mr. Reese just said, there is limitations on how the dollars you can spend where you don't get the government involved. If we would have broken down into stages, we could have kept it under those dollar figures. We could have done it in phases, and we could have done it a lot cheaper. But they didn't want to listen. They didn't tell me, told me it's not my business, and so I stayed out of it, period. So, okay.
Yeah, I was just under understanding that it was condemned.
No, it is not.
No, it's not
You
condemned.
read the report, it is not condemned. He said there is no...
I've got a copy.
I got a copy. If you want to come and see it, you can come and see it. Well, the commissioners have it too, so you can get it from them.
On the new building, how many repair bays are you gonna have?
On the new building?
Yes. 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job,
okay.
but during the snow time, bring 4 trucks in there, have them warm, ready to go out. That's the way I would do it if I was down there. I'm not
Oh, in the
gonna...
garage that we got now?
Yeah, no,
In the shop you're talking about?
Yes.
We can only get 3 in there.
3, put 3 in there, you have 3 ready to go.
We get 1 single, Leroy, and 2 tandems.
The way we're doing it right now is we're putting 2 singles in there to go out and do the emergencies.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
In what part of that building?
Where the
In the
mechanic
shop.
Where the shop is now?
Yeah.
You can only get 2.
You
You
can only
get
get
2
2
in there?
singles in there. If you put a tandem in there, you can't get another truck in.
Well, you can
And
get
yet-
2 tandems, or you can get 2 tandems and 1 single axle in there.
Okay, that's
Not
inside.
with the salt boxes on
Well, I never thought that.
That's,
it. The salt
that's,
box adds about 4 more foot to the truck.
that's in the heated part, right?
Right.
And then you have, what, three bays just north of there, right? That are open.
Inside right now?
Yeah. Is it 3 bays just north? And then you have some more bays additional north of that.
Well,
I think there's 3 bays and then there's 2 wider bays, right?
Right.
Just north of that. Okay.
well, we were told to move everything out, so we moved.
Yeah,
I know.
You gotta go to the structural
told-
engineer, and the structural engineer said the building's not safe. So, bottom line is you
So
have to go
what
to the
he's talking
structural
about right
engineer.
now is with those salt boxes sitting there,
Yeah.
if you get a freeze of rain coming,
you gotta move them inside, and you can move one truck inside at a time to get the ice out of the salt box before it even works. And it takes a half hour, 45 minutes to do one truck. So when you're talking all 5 trucks, you're talking 5-6 hours before you get everybody out on the road.
So what you did last year, well, of course, last year,
Last
part,
year we was under the roof.
you run the roof. So you could back the, half the truck under the roof, and would that keep the salt boxes okay then, you think? If we just backed them halfway under?
We can.
Well, I know you can't. I mean, the commissioners have to make a decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then you're still only putting half the truck under.
Well, we can play the role of commissioner all we want all night. We can't do anything about it. The commissioners
Okay.
made their decision.
That's fine, okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, I'd make a motion.
Second.
Adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion, means adjourned.
You have to